recently, a Christian apologist by the name of Glorthak has attempted to answer my Jesus Timeline videos. Now, to make a long story very short, he tries to reconcile Matthew's Jesus with Luke's Jesus, as many Christian apologists do, by pushing Luke's Jesus back in time. As I say, this is not unusual, but most Christian apologists try to do this by saying that Quirinius had two governorships of Syria. But Glorthak has a different approach. He says that Luke chapter 2 verse 2 should not be translated to "this happened when Quirinius was governor of Syria," but rather before Quirinius was governor of Syria. Well, I found this to be a very interesting answer, primarily because my King James Bible and also my New Oxford Annotated Bible both make it clear that this happened when Quirinius was governor of Syria. In fact, my New Oxford Annotated Bible, which normally contains a lot of notations regarding various historical events or translation issues, has absolutely nothing to say about this topic. So I went online and looked at not less than about 20 different English translations and 2 German translations. The English translation of one of the German translations I looked at, the Luther Bible, has the English words in red there for you to review. And as you can see here by some of the samples that I'm posting, every single version that I looked at translated it roughly the same way, all using the words when or during or while. None of them used the word before. So I put the question to Glorthak: can you name one professional translation of Luke chapter 2 verse 2 that agrees with you? Glorthak responded, saying that the English Standard Version contains a footnote. The English Standard Version says when Quirinius was governor of Syria, but there's a footnote by the word when, and the footnote says, or this was the registration before. So apparently there's a single version of the Bible that has a footnote that suggests that there could be a different way of translating that. But even this version of the Bible does not go there. Even this version of the Bible translates it as when. Well, needless to say, I was kind of interested in this, because what this suggested to me was that his apology was based on, at best, some very fringy scholarship. But surely, the Christians who translate the Bible would certainly have used the word before if they could get away with it. After all, this does resolve the conundrum between Matthew and Luke that many Christians are aware of. So I put the question to him again. Can you name one professional translation that agrees with you? And he just simply blew me off, refused to answer the question, and declared victory. So this left me to do some research on my own as to what this controversy was about. I found an article by Carrier, which goes into detail on the translation of Luke. Did Luke mean before Quirinius? Some have tried to argue that the Greek of Luke might actually mean a census before the reign of Quirinius, rather than the first census of his reign. As to this, even Sherwin White remarks that he has, quote, no space to bother with more fantastic theories, such as that of W. Heichelheim's and others' suggestion that prote in Luke chapter 2 means proteron, which could only be accepted if supported by a parallel in Luke himself, end quote. He would no doubt have elaborated that if he thought it worthwhile to refute such a fantastic conjecture. For, in fact, this argument is completely disallowed by the rules of Greek grammar. First of all, the basic meaning is clear and unambiguous, so there is no reason to even look for another meaning. This passage, in the correct word order in English, says, "This happened to be the first census while Quirinius was governing Syria." This is very straightforward, and all translations render it in such a manner. A few paragraphs later, he says, "But even if one wanted to render it differently, the basic rules of Greek ensure that there is simply no way that this can mean before Quirinius in this construction. What is usually argued is that prote can sometimes mean before, even though it is actually the superlative of before, just as most is the superlative of more. Of course, if before were really meant, Luke would have used the correct adjective, such as protere or prin, as Sherwin White implies, since we have no precedent in Luke for such a use. Instead, Luke uses prin, so he would surely have used the same idiom here had that been his intended meaning. So essentially, this apology, not surprisingly, carries no weight, such that not a single professional Christian translator of the Bible has rendered it in that fashion. And as I say, they surely would have if they could get away with it. A for effort, but nice try.